In 1854, in the heart of the South, wealth and cruelty often went hand in hand, and for one plantation owner, arrogance became both his trademark and his downfall. He lived as though the rules of society bent for him alone, a man who thrived on wagers, on proving himself above others in every possible way. To him, the lives around him, whether enslaved or free, were nothing more than pieces on a board to be moved, mocked, or discarded. In this world of rigid expectations, where appearance and reputation determined worth, he found his amusement in pushing boundaries just to hear others gasp. One drunken evening with fellow elites, his appetite for mockery led him to make a bet so outrageous it silenced the table. He claimed he would marry the plantation's cook, a woman known more for her round body and hard work than for any refinement that Southern society praised. She was described by many with cruelty, reduced to her size and station, dismissed as someone incapable of inspiring affection. To him, that was precisely the point. His marriage would not be born of passion or partnership but of a wager, a living insult to the very concept of love, beauty, and class. His companions laughed until their sides ached, imagining the humiliation she would endure, and the spectacle he would create. For him, the union was nothing more than a public joke, a declaration of his power to twist even matrimony into a stage for ridicule. But beneath the sneers and careless words, a storm began brewing. What was intended as entertainment would soon unravel into a chain of consequences no one predicted. In that moment, though, all he saw was victory, certain that by making her his wife, he would own not just her labor but her dignity, never imagining how fragile his own pride truly was. The marriage began not with celebration but with ridicule, a union built on cruelty rather than devotion. The plantation owner treated the vows as nothing more than a showpiece, mocking the very idea that his cook could ever carry the title of wife. In gatherings with neighbors and fellow landowners, he paraded her presence as though she were an exhibit, making cruel jokes at her expense, twisting her appearance into a source of entertainment. To him, her size and her past as a slave were ammunition for humiliation. Yet while he laughed loudly, others whispered behind their fans and glasses, not entirely at her but at him, questioning what kind of man would turn matrimony into a drunken wager. In the household itself, her position was fragile in name but strong in spirit. Though she was elevated to a role she had never sought, she did not crumble under the weight of mockery. Instead, she carried herself with a surprising steadiness, commanding the kitchen and the staff with fairness. Where the owner demanded obedience through fear, she inspired respect through kindness. She listened to the workers, treated them with humanity, and made decisions that showed she valued their struggles. In her presence, the household ran with a new rhythm, one that quietly challenged the cruelty that had long defined the plantation. The owner, however, never softened. His nights were consumed by gambling tables, endless bottles, and the company of women who reminded him of the refined beauty he thought he deserved. He boasted openly about his escapades, ensuring everyone knew that the cook he had married meant nothing to him beyond winning a bet. Every infidelity was another blade, another reminder that she was bound to a man who saw her as unworthy of even the smallest courtesy. Yet with each betrayal, something shifted. Instead of being broken, she began to grow more resilient, her strength recognized by those who worked beneath the same roof. The whispers spread further than the plantation gates. Guests at parties began to smirk not at her but at him, mocking the man who thought himself clever but had entangled his life in a spectacle of his own making. What began as laughter at her expense slowly turned into laughter at his arrogance. He had married to humiliate her, but he found himself the subject of ridicule. His cruelty, once applauded by friends who shared his prejudices, became evidence of his own weakness. The cook, the woman everyone expected to shrink under shame, became the one holding dignity, while the man who claimed to own her honor squandered his own.